Hey cats, it's your midsole man EDDBUD here. There are so many shoes on the horizon coming out in the near future. Means I can roll out another absolutely banging running shoe yay or nay video for you. In today's video we're going to check out the following: the KIPRUN KD900X LD+, the CIELO X1 2.0 from HOKA, the MIZUNO Neo Zen, and also the on CLOUDSURFER 2. Lots to get through, so let's check them out. Thanks for joining me on the channel, it is always appreciated. If you're new here, do hit that subscribe button, but also give this video a thumbs up like. Really does help out to spread the good word. Drop us a comment as well to help with the YouTube algorithm, and of course drop us a super thanks or become a member to help out the channel on a more ad hoc basis. All that's left to say is Dankeschön. Okay, so the first shoe up on today's yay or nay is from KIPRUN. I've reviewed a few of their shoes over the last 12 months or so and had some quite good times running in them. Whilst I do think KIPRUN need to revise the naming convention of some of their shoes, they have got some good value options out there that are readily available as well, where you can just walk into a store and buy them. The KD900X LD, I think that's what it was called, was like a good tempo shoe, decent weight and a rebound-like midsole, but it seems like KIPRUN have gone all out this time round with a massive foam stack. The KD900X LD Plus has got a carbon plate. It's now that true super shoe design. Larger, softer midsole stack that appears to be around about 39mm with only a 4mm drop. I see this one as perhaps being a carbon plate shoe for the masses. Lots of foam around the heel there to help stabilize things. Lots of rubber here too on the outsole. Certainly a deeper application of that stuff. Now the midsole blend that we have here is a PIBA based one. It's called V-Foam Plus. I'll tell you what, I reckon this is going to be pretty soft. Certainly than the previous iterations. And of course the carbon plate here, though even with this improvement in material quality, we've still got a weight of 219 grams for the sample size, so that's a little bit more hefty than some of the other shoes in this category. I think the other factor I've got to include here is that the shoe's 200 quid, well 199 quid here in the UK. There are two versions, one with a purple hue with some orange, that kind of reminds me of the RC Elite V2 from New Balance from a while back. Then there's also an orange option as well, nice and zesty. In terms of that price tag, well, this KIPRUN option is coming in around about the same price as that Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3, and that is a true banger and very light. Though I guess you do have some additional full-foot stack in this KD900X LD+. So a full PIBA shoe is always quite fun to test, and KIPRUN models are, I don't know, there's something about them, they're a bit of like an upstart. I kind of like the fact that it's not a Nike or an Adidas, just something a little bit different, bit sort of fun and carefree. So yeah, it's a yay on this one. If I can source a pair from KIPRUN, I'll give it a whirl. Second shoe today is from HOKA. Lots of people have been asking about this one, the CIELO X1 2.0. It's out now. It is 250 quid. If I am gonna pick up a pair of these in a UK 11, I'm gonna have to shift some shoes. I've got a lot of shoes here that I'm not using, so we're gonna have a bit of a clear out. By all accounts, the weight is now much lower, so you had 264 grams in the V1 in the sample size. We now have 229, so that's 1.2 ounces lighter per shoe in the sample size. That is quite considerable, I think you'll agree. So the laces are now standard ones rather than the weird ribbon stuff we had in the original. Though in fairness, they did work. It wasn't like those laces were just completely unfunctional. The cutout in the sidewall of the midsole though is now on the medial side rather than the lateral side, which will perhaps remove some of the character of the shoe. Rubber is listed as sticky, which is one area HOKA have improved upon a great deal in the last few years. The whole of the upper material now is different. In fact, there's little left actually of what we had in the V1. It's quite a different shoe really when you think about it. We still have the PIBA foam in the midsole, which was absolutely banging. similar stack height and drop. So you could ask yourself the question, is this still the CIELO X1 or is it kind of like a different shoe? I mean, the weight of the V1 was probably too much for some people, certainly me. I wouldn't use it as like a top end racer for like 5k or 10k. It's a good tempo shoe though, very lively as well in terms of the compression. Many of you have contacted me to ask if I'm going to be reviewing this one, and I will say yes, it's a yay on the CIELO X1 2.0, but I need to get some pennies in before I pick up a pair of these. 250 big ones is a hefty price to pay. Next up we have a shoe from Mizuno. It is the Neo Zen. This appears to be more of a daily trainer from Mizuno, very much in the styling of the Neo Vista. Features a nitrogen infused midsole, carbon rubber on the outsole, and a knit-like upper material. We've only got 240 grams for the sample size on this one. 6mm drop, maxed out stack just under 40 millimeters. So there's some considerable cushion here, especially for something that is very much aimed at being a daily option for most. It's along the lines of like the Puma Velocity Nitro 3 or maybe like the Magnify Nitro in terms of the available compression. My only real hang up here surrounding this shoe is the knit upper. They never seem to work with me all that well in terms of getting a good lockdown. I end up with loads of bunching of that knit, especially towards the initial eyelet area. I've got slightly narrow feet, and I can imagine if you had a very narrow foot, that could be a considerable problem with this type of upper. I just never feel all that comfortable around my foot, and for this type of midsole, you really want to be anchored down on top of that, or else you'll just be swimming around inside the shoe. Price is good here, about $130 here in the UK, though with the Neo Vista only a little bit more expensive, that kind of seems a bit better in terms of value, and you've got a bit more tech in that shoe as well. I've certainly seen some very favourable reviews on that shoe over the last few months. So I think at this point it's a nay on the Neo Zen from Mizuno. The Adizero Evo SL and the Nova Blast 5 both need more miles of testing, and they seem to be much more popular shoes around about the same price tag and intended usage. Last shoe up today on the yay or nay comes from On. We got the CLOUDSURFER 2. Now, sometimes shoes appear and everybody is asking me for a review. This is not one of those shoes. I have to say, the On Cloud Tech Phase did seem to be one of those technologies that actually did work for me rather than the standard Cloud Tech stuff that felt a bit firm and a bit inconsistent. CloudTech Phase seems a little bit more consistent across the footbed, just a bit more enjoyable for me, a bit more fun to run in. A little less firm, a bit more squash, and a bit more runner compatible. That aside though, I don't like the on price premium. This CLOUDSURFER 2 is 150 quid, which for a daily use shoe is pretty steep, I reckon. The model is heavier too than others like the Evo SL, the Pegasus Plus or the Nova Blast 5, and rather on the plush side there around the Achilles. I think the distinction you got to make here is that you've got this CloudTech stuff in the standard daily models, but On never feature that stuff in their race models, which tells you all you need to know. They use normal foams there, and of course they're coming in much more light and nimbler because of it. 261 grams in the sample size means this one's going to be about 300 grams for me and my UK 11. We also have a 9mm drop. It's a little bit excessive for me for a daily use shoe. I know that On have gathered some momentum over the past couple of years. They got the sprayed on uppers, haven't they, and those sort of wild designs. But the standard daily models just don't really appeal to me all that much. And also not a soul has been asking me in the comments for a review on these, despite the recent release. So I think in the main we're still a little way off of On being a major running force. I'm not seeing loads of people using these at the start lines. Perhaps a bit better for the school run or a trip to the shops. Let me know your perspective though on these down in the comments. I'm very keen to see it. Have you kind of softened up to On and some of their technologies? Or do you think it's a bit of a gimmick? Either way, for me, it's a nay on the CLOUDSURFER 2 from On. Okay, that's all 4 of the shoes in today's yay or nay. You know, don't forget, it's not me saying the shoe's rubbish or it's an absolute banger. Can't really tell that till I've got it on foot or not. I'm just telling you whether I'm going to pick them up for review or not and my reasons behind it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Very quick musical interlude for you. I'm a really big Brian Setzer fan, so I was really sad to hear that he's having some significant health issues at the moment. Let's hope he can be on the mend and getting back to playing some guitar. I think he's unable to play right now, which is really sad. He's one of the true greats. Been checking out some of his recent back catalogue. One of the tracks in particular that's really stood out is Girl on the Billboard. Raucous Gretsch playing on that one. Some real bite to it, some real aggression. Great driving music, and of course that means it's great running music too. Setz has always managed to achieve that truly great vintage sound with the use of some of the gear that I guess people would have been using back in the 50s, but managed to get a good appreciation of it using stuff really from the 80s. I think the Roland Space Echo is one of the things that he utilises both in the studio and on stage to get that true rockabilly sound. Either way, go and check this one out. Girl on the Billboard from the master rockabilly player, Brian Setzer. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment too to help spread the good word. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you